Longchamp was born on the first floor of a Tallahassee hospital, built at an elevation of 55 feet above sea level. In the 36 years since then, she had never set foot on a taller hill. Her cherished home, a tumble-down antebellum plantation house called Joyeuse, was built for her great-great-grandfather by his slaves, some of whom were also her ancestors. It sat firmly on an island with a maximum elevation of 17 feet, and few of its inhabitants ever strayed far from their coastal paradise. Faye herself had never before today left the low-lying Florida panhandle. If the term flatlander was ever true of anybody, it was surely true of Faye. This was the reason the gaping ravines that yawned along the Alabama roadside made her clutch the steering wheel of her 25-year-old Pontiac in white-knuckled terror. When her tires rolled too close to the edge of the worn pavement, crumbles of asphalt slid down slopes that looked vertical to Faye's flatlander eyes, and her tires rolled too close to the edge of the pavement with frightening regularity, because her barge-sized car was not built to maneuver hairpin turns. Faye had not expected Alabama to look like this. She made a mental note to never, ever venture into Colorado. "Where are the guardrails?" she muttered. "How can they possibly build a road like this without guardrails? This is America. Somebody might get sued." Joe Wolf Mantooth sat in the passenger seat. Sometimes the view out his window encompassed nothing but autumn-hued trees and a clear, meandering stream. Other times, the same window revealed a dizzying drop into the depths of a roadside precipice. But Joe always looked as relaxed as an old man after a good dinner. This was an accomplishment of sorts for a 26-year-old. "Want me to drive, Faye?" Faye wanted to blurt out, "Are you kidding? You don't even have a driver's license." But Joe didn't deserve her rudeness. Instead, she said, "I can handle it." She wished she could tear her eyes off the road, because her peripheral vision was picking up glimpses of loveliness. Russet-hued sumacs stood flaming among persimmons and sweet gums that simply couldn't decide what color they wanted to be. Their yellow and orange and purple leaves trembled like bits of glass in a kaleidoscope, framed by the laurel oak's constant green. All her life, Faye had heard people raving about autumn leaves. Until now, she'd never understood what the fuss was about. The trees on Joyeuse Island were predominantly palms and live oaks, with an occasional dogwood planted by some ancestor who enjoyed white flowers at Easter time. Live oaks got their name because they carried their green leaves through every season. Palm trees held onto their fronds until they turned brown and fell off. The dogwoods tried to put on a show, but Joyeuse's short autumns made sure that each red leaf lasted about a day before it browned and dropped to the dirt. Here, in the southernmost reaches of the Appalachians, Faye was seeing autumn in all its glory for the first time, but enjoying it would have required her to take her attention away from the narrow, winding roadway. Convinced that doing so would bring certain death, she firmly insisted that the fluttering leaves stay in her peripheral vision. Joe leaned back against the headrest and closed his eyes. His rhythmic breathing was the only sound in the car except for Faye's occasional cursing of the civil engineer who designed the death-trap roadway beneath her tires. The ever-darkening sky wasn't helping matters. Faye glanced at her watch. Sunset was still an hour away, but the sun was far on the other side of a mountain clad in autumnal clothing, and the trees' garish colors weren't bright enough to light the pavement ahead of her. She flipped on her headlights and goosed the accelerator. Faye was eager to reach her destination for reasons that had nothing to do with the oncoming darkness or the treacherous road.